With the Vikings on Sunday Night Football, we've got two legends in the house, Mike Tirico and Cris Collinsworth, part of the Sunday Night Football NBC broadcast. And when you guys get that schedule, towards the beginning of the year, and you see Minnesota week 2, Sunday night, what were your emotions like? I'll start with you, Cris.
Yes. It wasn't December or January. It was, it's an exciting place. It's a great stadium. We got to do a Super Bowl here, so we've seen it at full throat. And it's really, this is a good one from the standpoint, you get the two young quarterbacks, and it's sort of this unlimited potential. Michael Penix didn't win the game last week, but he did sort of what he did at the end of the year last year, which was put his team in position to win. Yeah. And then, of course, JJ comes along, and that was unbelievable. Like, you're starting to go, okay, how are we going to spin this next week? Yeah. He's way better than what he looked like in this game. And then biddy bop boop, and here they come and win the game. So it was great.
I love it. This is one of my favorite stadiums in the league. People always ask, where do you enjoy doing games? And I always say Lambeau. There are always a couple places, but this is one of my favorites. I love the stadium, the architecture, the fans, Skull Chant, Gallahorn, the whole deal. There's a great energy no matter what the stakes are in the game. So we love coming here for games.
And just to put a cap on that, it is the home opener.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So it's going to be a lot of energy. Jared Allen at halftime. I mean, he was a guy that you guys were able to follow for a while. Yeah. I mean, what do you remember the most, Mike, about Jared Allen?
Well, we had the Hall of Fame game this year, and when Jared was being interviewed on our preseason game, I asked him, Jared, make sure you got one lasso left in you when you're up on the stage. And he did it, but he split his pants when he did it. So I feel really good about that. I just don't want to see Jared. I want to be the guy who gets blamed for that. But
no.
Not just a terrific Hall of Fame level player, but a character and entertainer and always fun to talk to and be around. So thrilled for him.
Isn't he the one that wore shorts when he did the walkout?
Yes, at the game.
Yeah, like he just got off the golf course.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then we saw, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that, there's a prop in there.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
The Jared Allen wig.
Stay
tuned.
tuned.
Mullet. No, that's we can talk about it.
We got that?
So they did that for the Ring of Honor game.
Nice.
And so funny enough, we have
Bring
another one hopefully coming back for you. But let's talk more about the X's and O's things. You guys are here for your production meetings to talk to head coach Kevin O'Connell, some of the players. Cris, when they walk in the room, what are some of the hot topics you really want to talk to them about?
I think this is McCarthy time right now for us. I mean, we've got it. It's the first time really I've had a chance to meet him. You may have met him, I haven't. And so many times it's not about football when we do a first game with a new quarterback or a new head coach. It's trying to figure out who they are, what makes them tick. And I know he's a pretty interesting guy, right? He's interested in things way beyond just football. And so that makes our job more fun because it adds more flavor to the broadcast as we get into it. But I really do, and I know they were on primetime the other night, but ours is always, I think, a little bit more of a personal approach to it. We try to, it's a pretty broad audience, and we try to do the stories, the person, the people, as my wife likes to say, why should I care, right?
I love it,
and we try to give them a reason why they should care, and that's
cool.
part of the fun part of the job.
Definitely.
I'm
Mike,
excited to see JJ. I live in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Didn't go to school there, but lived there, so I've never heard a player come through who people talk about the way they talk about JJ and the impact he had, as you've heard from many of the folks who were around Michigan, in the football building, in town, so warm. So I'm excited to see him at this next chapter and next phase. And Kevin O'Connell is one of my favorite production meetings. He's so fun to talk to. Every former quarterback who's a play caller is a terrific production meeting. Not that defensive coaches aren't, but Kevin, just as you guys know, he's just so good in expressing what he thinks and what he feels and letting you in a little bit. Yeah. So it's one of my favorites. So
the quarterback whisperer.
Oh, no,
that's one of my first questions.
Right?
I want to know, what is a quarterback whisperer? For
Honestly,
people who have no idea, do you actually whisper to them? Like, what is it, and how did you keep him calm and on pace last week?
Okay, I might come find you guys after this, because if I know Kevin, he's going to try and play off that is not what he thinks he is, because he's a modest guy. He doesn't want to think about it that way.
We don't care. We don't care what he thinks.
We'll get to him.
No, we don't care.
I love it.
We've got a theory we're sticking to.
I know, that's amazing. Well, on the defensive side of things, they were the side of the ball that kept kept Vikings in the game. And Brian Flores is in his third year. And, you know, he's working with some different pieces, some guys out, some new faces. What excites you about this defense in year 3 of Brian Flores, Cris?
Everything. Brian Flores is one of my favorite guys in the league because he keeps my job very interesting. He never does the same thing 2 weeks in a row. You have to be on your toes. You have to be able to see what adjustments he's making out there. And it's interesting, though, now with Hargrave and Allen, that he has a little bit of he can just rush 4. And when you think of Brian, you don't think of that. You think of exotic looks, exotic blitzes. But a lot of the places he's been, he's had to do that to get pressure.
That's fair.
So now the question becomes, can those 4 guys up front, throw in Dallas Turner as well with some of those edge rushers, and does it now create opportunities for him to not only be aggressive, but also win in a conservative mode?
In 2 years, you had 3 edge rushers, right? The 2 free agents and the draft with Turner. And now you have the 2 really established Pro Bowl interior guys. So you just put more golf clubs in his bag, because he can have the 4-man rush, he can get 5 guys out there, but can also still bring the pressure too. So as Cris said, we're just on page 1 of this. It's going to be a pretty deep book after the year. And come playoff time with health, if the Vikings are in there, you know that coach is sitting down to get ready for Minnesota is going to be going, what the heck? What is he going to pull out?
I mean, they all do that. When you talk to the other team, they're always like, all right, man, this is what they had on film, but I know he ain't doing that. What is he going to do?
It's funny you mentioned a nice golf reference for our Minnesota fans. We've got tons of golf fans out here. But we're going to be heading into a football game that is going to have all eyes on it of the country, wondering what's going to happen next with this team. In your opinion, what is the one thing the Vikings need to do to get the job done on Sunday night, Cris?
Run it again. I mean, Jordan Mason came in there and really was fantastic. I thought that gave them something that they really had not had in the past. And when you can add that sort of physical element to your offense, I mean, if you think about it in the fourth quarter when they started that comeback, they hit a 20-yard run, a 19-yard run with Mason, and all of a sudden now they hit a pass, now you got your quarterback running around, and it felt completely different. And he brings a little bit of that intimidation factor that they try to create on defense to the offensive side.
My partner loves to say September is kind of the new preseason, right? Because people are figuring out what you're doing. But if you can get through that preseason at 3-1 or 4-0, then you're in great shape to have a year like Kevin's had 2 of these 3 years. So, as Cris said, go back to what worked and then get that passing game going earlier, as opposed to having to do it at the 11th hour and scaring half of the people around the 10,000 lakes here, right? You can do that, and you know that defense has already played at that level without Harrison Smith in the lineup, with some injuries on that side of the ball as well, missing Cashman. All of a sudden you get to 2-0, you feel really good about the way your season's off to a good start without being full complement of players. So that was what I'm looking for from Minnesota. Can they pick up where they left off in the fourth quarter at Soldier Field?
Amazing. Well, we hope that happens as well. Thank you two so much for being here, for giving us your time today before your meetings. Enjoy your weekend here in Minnesota, and we'll see you guys on the call. Sunday Night Football on NBC. Kickoff is at 7:20.